What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Kyle on the Call Sports. I'm Kyle Russo. On today's show, what I want to talk about is how a Brooklyn Nets player has recently been listed as out indefinitely after being diagnosed with a nerve impingement in his back. But before we get started, make sure to like this video, make sure to leave a comment down below, and of course, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Kyle on the Call Sports. Now, without further ado, let's get started. The player that I'm talking about is Ben Simmons, and Ben Simmons was recently listed as out indefinitely for the Brooklyn Nets after being diagnosed with a nerve impingement in his back. And as recently as today, Nets head coach Jacques Vaughn told reporters that, in all honesty, he's probably not going to join us for the rest of the year in regards to Ben Simmons returning to the lineup for the Brooklyn Nets. Now, Ben Simmons, throughout the entirety of his career, has dealt with a slew of injuries. In his first year, he missed his entire rookie season with a foot injury. And then last season, in 2021 2022, Ben Simmons held out and was also dealing with a back injury as well before he was traded to the Brooklyn Nets for James Harden. Now, in that year, 2021 2022, Ben Simmons did not play a game for the 76ers and did not play a game for the Brooklyn Nets either after being traded. But this season, however, Ben Simmons has played 42 games for the Brooklyn Nets. He has not played since February 15th, which is right before the All Star break. And as Jacques Vaughn has stated, it's unlikely that he will return this season. Now, Ben Simmons, in these 42 games with the Nets, has averaged career lows in almost every single category. He's averaged 6.9 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, 6.1 assists per game, and 1.3 steals per game. These are all career lows for Ben Simmons. In his final season with the Philadelphia 76ers, which was back in 2020 2021, he averaged 14.3 points per game. He averaged 6.9 assists per game, 7.2 total rebounds per game, and 1.6 steals per game. Now, obviously, in comparing those two seasons, Ben Simmons' final year with the 76ers, in which he played, compared to now this first season with the Brooklyn Nets playing, those numbers in every single category are drastically different. And throughout these 42 games this season, Ben Simmons has struggled. Now, when this trade first happened, dating back to last year when Ben Simmons was traded for James Harden, it was looked at as a positive for the Brooklyn Nets and a positive for Ben Simmons and the outlook of his career. Ben Simmons would join a Kevin Durant team and a Kyrie Irving team where Ben Simmons wouldn't have to worry about scoring. Now, throughout Ben Simmons' career, his 7 total years in the NBA, his 5 total years actually playing in the NBA, he has struggled to shoot from every single level, whether that be the three-point ball, having a jump shot, and even shooting free throws. Most of his points, the reason why his field goal percentage is as high as it is because most of his shots come within the paint. Otherwise, he struggles with those other categories shooting the basketball. But what Ben Simmons is he's an excellent, excellent defender. In his 5 total years spent with the Philadelphia 76ers, 4 years actually playing basketball for them on the court, 3 of those years, he was an all-star. Not just because of his numbers scoring, his numbers in the assist category, his numbers in the rebound category, but because of his defensive presence. And going back to this trade, having Kevin Durant be as lethal as a scorer as he is, and having Kyrie Irving being as lethal as a scorer as he is, now adding Ben Simmons to a team that has all the scoring options there and needed some help defensively, it looked like this trade was going to be great for not only the 76ers getting James Harden and pairing him with Embiid, but Ben Simmons being that defensive player that the Brooklyn Nets had been missing. However, Ben Simmons did not play at all for the Brooklyn Nets last season. And in this season, only playing 42 games, it's more than likely that he will miss the remainder of the season, according to what Jacques Vaughn has stated. Now, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving did start the season off with the Brooklyn Nets, but obviously were traded at the deadline. Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns and Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks. Now missing those 2 excellent offensive players, and they did get some players back in return for both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. In the Kevin Durant trade, getting guys like Cameron Johnson and Mikal Bridges, and in the Kyrie Irving trade, getting guys like Dorian Finney-Smith and guys like Spencer Dinwiddie, who are great players. But now Ben Simmons essentially being the focal point of that team because he's made 3 All-Star appearances, because of the amount of money that he's making, and the amount of money that's left on that contract. With 2 years remaining, he's guaranteed $78 million left on that deal that he signed with the 76ers a few years back. With all that being said, being that all-star presence and the amount of money that he's making, he has not lived up to that contract, and unfortunately, not improving upon his game offensively, improving his ability to shoot the basketball. He has essentially become a liability now for the Nets, combined with his injury history. And we saw that in his final season with the Philadelphia 76ers. In the playoff series against the Atlanta Hawks, which was his last time suiting up for the Philadelphia 76ers, he was getting taken out late in games because the Atlanta Hawks were fouling Ben Simmons and sending him to the line because he could not shoot the basketball. In fact, I believe he had one of the worst all-time free throw percentages in a playoff series. In the playoff series against the Hawks in 2020-2021, Ben Simmons shot 34% from the free throw line, which is terrible, and which essentially cost the Philadelphia 76ers an opportunity to move on further in the playoffs. But now let's move back to the present with Ben Simmons. As I stated earlier, listing off his stats in almost every single category, his numbers have dropped drastically. And he hasn't played up to that all-star level caliber player that we saw in previous years, 3 straight seasons with the Philadelphia 76ers. And now with no timetable on Ben Simmons' return, and more likely than not, according to head coach Jacques Vaughn, that he will miss the rest of the season. On top of the fact, this is now a second year he's been dealing with this back injury, missing all of last year as well. There are some real concerns, not only for the Brooklyn Nets with Ben Simmons, but for the outlook of Ben Simmons' career. With all that money left on his contract, as I stated earlier, $78 million over the course of the next 2 years, and the Brooklyn Nets now in a rebuilding phase after the Kevin Durant, Kyrie era has now ended, Brooklyn may look to trade of Ben Simmons. But what will his market be? Now missing 2 full seasons of basketball between his first rookie season with a foot injury, a back injury last year, and now missing almost half the games this year with a reoccurring back injury. And with all that guaranteed money left and his inability to shoot the basketball at a consistent level in a variety of different ways, whether it's the three-point line, whether it's from the free throw line, or even having a jump shot, it is very difficult to tell the future of Ben Simmons, not only with his career with the Brooklyn Nets, but as I stated earlier, in the NBA as a whole. At the age of 26 years old, Ben Simmons is still a very young player with a lot of room to grow. He's appeared in 3 All-Star games. He's been excellent defensively. And if he can improve his offensive numbers back to those levels in which he played in Philadelphia, he can be a very good player in the NBA. This offseason will definitely be an interesting one, and only time will tell what will happen with the future and career of Ben Simmons. But that'll do it here from me today on Kyle on the Call Sports. I'm Kyle Russo. Once again, make sure to like this video, make sure to leave your comment down below, and of course, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Kyle on the Call Sports. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.